My partner, Ezio Antamura, is part of the statewide coverage committee. He's on the South Bergen Claims Committee. He's also part of the operations and membership committee, and he's also a certified trainer for the GIF, which he has come here to do the training for managers, supervisors, and employees. And my partner Joe is very involved and writes a lot of insurance out in Morris County where he lives for the various first aid squads and ambulance service. So, with that in mind, as you was going to come up and kind of go over the book that they've given you, just to give you a quick synopsis of the insurance coverage. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, council members. I'll be brief. I understand you have to pass your budget. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, or you can always reach out to myself, Matt, or Carol. Our cards are in the packet. But if you look on the right side of the packet, and the pages are numbered, if you go to page 4, this is the 2012 Risk Management Plan with the South Bergen Joint Insurance Fund for the Borough of Bogota. On page 5 is a very comprehensive package with the oldest GIF in the state of New Jersey, the largest joint insurance fund in the country. Approximately 375 public entities are insured. It was originated right here in Bergen County in 1985, and we cover the perils of workers' compensation, general liability, police professional, automobile liability, blanket crime, statutory crime, property, public officials and employment practices liability, and directors and officers liability for your volunteer fire and first aid. If you turn to page 10, as your risk managers, we have purchased years ago when we started the risk management for the Borough of Bogota, the maximum limit offered for the directors and officers liability for your fire and emergency services, total limit of $2 million with a $1,000 deductible. The property deductible on page 10 remains at $2,500. If you have a vehicle accident or a property claim that's under $2,500 and the GIF it's under the deductible, we will go after the responsible party if it's a third-party claim, submit the claim on the Borough of Bogota's behalf, and try to recoup your monies, your out-of-pocket monies, to save your taxpayer dollars. If you turn to page 11, actually go to page 14. We also, at the end of 13, the beginning of 14, we purchased what you would commonly know as umbrella coverage. The Joint Insurance Fund offers a maximum of $20 million of coverage. The Borough of Bogota has $20 million of general liability and auto liability coverage, including police professional. Public officials and employment practices liability. The GIF's layers are listed there on page 14. We have purchased the Borough of Bogota years ago when the highest limit was offered to have a total of $10 million, $4 million with an excess of $6 million. If you turn to page 15, we also write an accident policy for your recreation program. It's a $250,000 policy, excess basis, and it includes accidental death and dismemberment. So if a child is injured, their parents report the claim to their insurance carrier. Whatever they don't cover, we would cover if it's a borough-related sport. If they don't have insurance, our policy would become primary and pick up the first dollar up to $250,000. On page 15, under fidelity bonds, the GIF since 2007, and we enrolled the Borough of Bogota, offers the statutory bond coverage for your statutory positions. So in 2012, the applications have been approved for Helen Hagel as your treasurer and Elizabeth Weimer as your tax collector. We have quasi-entities coverage listed. The South Bergen GIF is very unique in that matter. They offer coverage for $5 million, some prime coverage, and what they call higher than our own auto liability to organizations that the elected officials request. For many years, the Borough of Bogota applied for and received coverage for your Bogota Baseball Organization and your Advisory Committee on Substance Abuse. If you turn to page 16, we also have an accident and sickness policy above and beyond when your emergency services are providing worker comp. This would give them a little additional coverage. We carry a group dental plan, group life, and a group life for your volunteer services as well. On page 17, and the second item refers to the claims experience summary so that the elected officials have a sense of where the borough of Bogota is, there's a 3-year synopsis that we've put on the left side of your packet, which shows you a 3-year trend of where your claims are pure claims for 2011, 2010, and 2009. And that covers everything except for public officials and employment practices. That's your auto liability, your general liability, your business auto policy, your worker compensation. As we itemize on page 17 every month, we do send an email to your administrator and some of your department heads showing your lost time accidents for the period for the JIF, so you have a sense of where you are in comparison to the 22 other members of the South Bergen JIF. And we also outline on the left side the courses, the Mel Safety Institute, what we commonly call the MSI courses that the Borough of Bogota participated last year. It's all part of your safety incentive program. You do get credit for that. And in fact, you'll see on the last page that the Borough of Bogota did enjoy a safety award this year at breakfast. On page 18, the first item down, one of the things that the JIFs are doing, the joint insurance funds are doing now, is instituting a retrospective rating program. So if a municipality has a good claims experience in the year 2012, by July of next year, they will reassess your assessment, what we would call your premium. And if you have a very low claims experience, you could actually have a reduction in premium. If you have a very bad claims experience, you could get an assessment. And it is a cap, it's a capped assessment. But it's an incentive so that towns that maybe have a high incidence of claims are not subsidized by the towns that really participate in safety. So we urge you to continue good safety practices. On page 19, refers to the left side of the packet. The last item is every year we put this in our presentation is we work closely with your administrator, with Lenny, and your borough staff, but these are the recommendations we make that whenever a third party comes and uses public property, construction, people who want to borrow fields for the day, sporting event groups, outside of borough organizations, we want to make sure that if there's a hazard, if there's a tripping hazard, that if the borough is sued, we make sure the proper indemnity is in place so that we can turn that claim over to the responsible party. And that's just a 2-sheet recommendation that we put together years ago, just to give you some guidelines. And on page 21, as I mentioned a moment ago, the Borough of Bogota did receive $750 at the annual Safety Awards breakfast that was held this year for the year 2011. So congratulations to the governing body. That means that you and your department heads and your staff are doing a good job in safety initiatives. And the borough also received, due to the profitability of the South Bergen JIF in 2011, you did receive a $16,284 dividend from last year. And again, we'd just like to thank all of you for the appointment. We will work diligently for the Borough of Bogota. If you ever have any questions, we're there at the meetings. We sit on all the committees, statewide and local. We'll be glad to answer your questions. Does anyone have any questions?
I don't understand why is it that we're not covered for the lawsuit from the officer passing. Can you explain that to me?
What I would suggest that if, Councilman, if we can have a conversation tomorrow, I'd be glad to give you a call. I would suggest maybe the borough attorney would comment that we wouldn't discuss any individual matters publicly, because it might be a private matter. And then what we can do is, even as your risk manager, because of privacy issues, when those claims go into the public officials, XL Insurance Company, they don't involve us, and in fact, they don't privy us to any information because of privacy. But I would be glad to call you if tomorrow on that we can give Fran a call and get the councilman's phone number. We can bring you up to date on that claim.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Mayor, governing body, thank you very much, Councilman.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too now. Thank you.
Public hearing and vote on the amendment to the public planning ordinance plan.
No, but that's fine, the members of the council can explain what that amendment does.
Do I have a motion?
Well, let me just for the record, there was a request to increase the capital improvement fund, moving the tax rate, which we did by giving the ability to bond $1.2 million. In the current year, based on the new capital improvement fund, there was additional money transferred into the legal line because of some increasing lawsuits, cost of public hearing and lawsuits that we have to defend. That's basically it. I was on direction to council, I believe, so here we are.
Motion to open up the public?
So